Okay, so basically we were talking about routing and navigation. When we configure our routes, we have to sync up our routes to the components to a different screen, right? I'll just open up React official site. So in this, if you can see, when I go to tutorial, okay, or let's say I'm going to docs or blogs, okay, so it is partially updating a page, right? Partially updating a content, okay. Just you can see without reloading, okay, it is just updating a content. So you can see the change in the URL. I'll go to docs, you can see, okay. So basically what happens in multi-page application, it will redirect from one page to another page, right? But here what is happening is, as soon as you click on some links based on that route, your components are getting rendered. Okay, so we have synced it, right? So based on routes, we have told that what component need to be rendered, right? So that is how we have synced it up. So now, basically, here you'll get a core library that is React Router, but we actually use the external library that is React Router DOM. A lot of functionalities. So this React Router DOM, you need to install it first. So npm install React Router DOM hyphen save. So this is what you need to run in your terminal, right? So after running this, if you want to verify that React Router DOM has installed or not, you can just go ahead and check it in your package.json file. It will get updated. Or else you can go ahead in your node modules and manually check it where is your React Router DOM library. Okay. So now the next thing is, after installing React Router DOM, what you need to do is you need to have three things. That is browser router, to have switch, and you need to have route. Okay. Apart from that, when you want to use these routes, you need to have the link tag. Okay. So browser router is like a HTML5 routing. Okay. Wherein it knows about where you're navigating, like it will give you all the options of bookmark and history, so you can go forward and backward. Okay. So previously we used to use hash based URLs, right? So in that we used to have hash. Okay, in the URL we used to have hash. So nowadays we are not using it, hash based URLs. Let me just show you how it looks like. In the URL we used to have hash. You can see a small hash over here, right? So even now you can make it hash based URL. You can see the hash over here, right? I mean, you'll get hash slash like that. So like this, we used to have hash based URLs. Now we are not using hash based URLs because it will be a bit difficult to keep your URL backend URLs. I mean, for digital marketing, right? So it will become a little difficult. So that's the reason we are also using this browser router, and we are using switch because you have to switch between the components. Okay, so whatever the previously components you had rendered, and if you are navigating to other components, what will happen is the previous components will still be there, right? So to avoid these kind of situations, or to render properly the components fully, you need to use the switch. Okay. And we need to have a route. So in route you are going to have the path as well as the component you want to render. Okay. And we are going to have link when we are going to use the routes. So let me just show you what we have done. So we have this browser router. Okay. So we have taken this browser router route and switch from React Router DOM. Okay, from this library, browser router route and switch. So here you can see I have wrapped everything inside the browser router, and you can see I have a header. Okay, so that I can show header, and based on click on some links, and based on that I want to show some value. Switch is like a container where you'll be, it will show the output of your components, right? So let me just do npm start. So you can see now I have a route. Okay, I have a path /. So that means it is a default route, and also it means that it will point to your base route. Base route is your localhost 3000, right? That's a base path. Okay. So // means it's a base path. It's a root path. So for a root path, we are rendering home command. So for routing and navigation purpose only, we had created a few components. It's here. So we had created these many components for routing and navigation, that is about, contact, footer, header, home, product. So header and footer we created just to show that header will remain same in the page, only the components data will get changed, right? Here exact why we are writing, because // is everywhere, right? So what will happen, it will match with that // and it will always render home component only. Okay, to avoid that, what we are actually trying to do is we are writing exact, so that whenever it matches with the correct url, that particular url only, then it will render that particular component, right? So if it is localhost 3000, then it will render home component. Even if somebody is trying with the /home, then also it will be rendering home component. And for /products, it is rendering products component. For contact, it is rendering contact component, and so on. So we have one a path wildcard routing. What is this wildcard routing? That here it means we are handling a 404 page, right? So instead of showing just blank page, see if nothing matches with the url, we have to show some page, right? Some component we have to show. So what we can do here is, instead of showing blank page, we can show some page not found page. So this thing you should keep it last, because if you keep it somewhere on the top or in between, then it will always get matched and it will always render page not found. Same like Angular. Okay, so this thing should be at the end. So whenever nothing matches, then it will match with this, and then it will render page not found component. Okay, so this is one of the way you can directly write component and component name in the curly braces. Or let's say if you want to pass props also from app.js file, then you may write like this. You can wrap it inside route tag, and may have this home component written like this. Okay, you can use in both ways, both are correct only. So now let's go ahead and look at it, the example. So you can see currently I'm in home page. Okay, so even if I write /home, it should go to home page only. See that? And when I write products, it's going to products component, right? And when I'm clicking about, it is going to about component. When I'm clicking contact, it is going to contact component. Now how is it going to, these are all components when I'm clicking, because I have used a link tag. Okay, so let's go to header.js file. See, my header is over here. Just below that I have a switch. Okay, and then I have this header. Okay, so in this I have used the link and to attribute. So whenever this home get clicked, then where to navigate to, right? Products, same thing, to /products, /about, and /contact, right? So now let's say when I'm writing some other URL instead of this. So where is it going to? It is going to page not found component, right? So this is how we have to handle the phone not. Okay, so you can write a fine UI where you can display the 404 page. I had written it over here instead of writing it separately. Yeah, see this page not found in the same component I have written. Okay, so in this way you can do a basic routing setup. So now let's imagine you want to pass route parameters. Let's say, of course, for products or for anything, you may need to pass a ID or you may need to pass something. Right. So let's imagine for products, you want to pass the ID to check the detail of the product. Right. So it is very easy to get the product list. Okay. To check the details of the product, we may need an ID. Right. So but there will be a situation where you need to pass the data from one component to another component, right? And make sure when you are passing a data from one component to another component, if it is secure, okay, don't pass it. Or if you are passing also, what you can do is you can do a encoding, right? So in JavaScript, there is a functionality like add to b2 kind of method is there. Whatever data you are passing, it will change it to unreadable format, right? So those kind of things you can do it to secure your data in the URL, right? So sometimes we may have to do that. So now let's imagine I want to pass a data from products component. Let's imagine we'll go to products file, and here I'll just keep a list of products. Okay, so let's say I have a product. Let me have a div inside div. And inside that, let me have a list item, and then we'll have a link. We have not defined the path over there, but still, let's write product one. Simply, I'll write product one, product two, three, four, like that. So I do not have the product list, so I'm just writing it like this. Here, let's now have the ID. Okay, so I'm expecting that URL should look like products slash one, products slash two, like that. Okay, so for that, here I'll just say that I'm going to have an ID. So I need to mention it over here. So it will become a required parameters if you just write it like this. So this is a user defined. Okay, you can write anything. It's kind of a variable you're defining. I am just writing ID. So do not forget to write colon, because if you don't write colon, then it will think like it is a continuous URL, right? But if you write colon followed by the ID, then it will be easier for me to fetch in the destination end that I need the ID, right? Let me just have one simple console log statement, and I will write. I just want to check like if I have this props, what is there in this props when I route? Okay, so I will just be writing props. That's it. Done. So now let's go ahead in our example. Okay, it is showing that link is not defined. Yes, of course, because I have not import products.js file. So in this, let's go ahead and console. I want to go to products. Okay, I need to pass the ID. I'm not getting anything over here. Products.js. So there I don't need the ID. Basically, when I click on products, it should go to products, and from here I want an ID to be passed. So I will do one thing. I will have one more file where I will just be writing product item. In product item, so here let's have item details, product details. That's it. I'm going to products. Okay, and you can see I have a product 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So rest of all the URLs are working. So I'm coming to products now. Let's go ahead and write one more route, and the component that I'm rendering is products item. Now let me write it over here. Console log props. So let me just write this thing. So here we can have products slash ID, right? So we'll write products, which should match with your URL, products, okay, and the ID. So you can concatenate it like this, or you can use the backtick character followed by one, like this I'm doing it. Okay, so copy this. This is kind of a static data, but once you get when you do a API call or something, then you'll be passing it with that API call only, right? Done. And now let's see whether it's going to products or not. Okay, to show this, I'll have to write one more thing, that is switch. Right now I'm in products. It's kind of a nested routing I'm doing along with the routing params. So when I click on product, you can see products one, it is showing there. Okay, it is adding up again. Well, let me check. Oh, keep on adding. Okay, let me do one thing. Then remove this. So I'll write URL. So what it does is it will take the current URL and append this ID with that. So the current URL will be, when I click on products, the current URL will be products only. I mean that this one. So let me copy this. Okay, done. Now let's go ahead and check. Not read property URL of undefined. So basically, you need to use, I mean, this kind of things, like to add them like an object. Okay. Okay. I'll show with functional component as well as a class component. Let's go ahead with both. So in class component, it's like straightforward. You will directly get it, match.url. So products. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me create up a class component and check it. Constructor and detail. So I'll go to, and let me just have product detail component. Okay, I'll just have okay, here I'll try it out. Component product detail. Now let me check. See, actually the thing is, as I'm I wanted to pass the props. I wrapped it between routes. That's the reason this thing is not coming there. So when we do it in this way, so directly it will take up all your route props. So this is the thing I was trying it out. But as I wrapped it inside route, I was not able to pass the route props. I mean, it is by default, route props will automatically go to your that particular component. So whenever you are rendering, so let's say if I'm rendering product details, component product details, so product details will have all the route props. But as you're wrapping it in this way, that's the reason it's not going. So we'll have to see like how we can pass the props in this way, and also we should be able to pass the app component data also, right? So in this way we won't be able to pass the app component data. Okay, so when you are trying this thing, you won't be able to pass it in this, but in this way you will be able to pass the props of your app component.